Live guest right now, you've got Paul Perrone. He's the CEO of Perrone Robotics, talking all about what's going on in the autonomy space. Paul, welcome to FreightWaves Now. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Paul, welcome to the show. Let's talk a little bit about Perrone Robotics. What are you guys up to there?
Yeah, well, our mission is to focus on safe and reliable autonomy solutions. That's the path to scale. And it's also, especially in this day and age, very important to have a vehicle agnostic or independent solution so that we can address these supply chain issues that you were just talking about and take an autonomy kit or a solution that we have and retrofit existing vehicles, existing trucks for full autonomy so that they can operate in the applications for which they're designed to applicate. These may be distribution centers or long-haul autonomous trucking applications.
So, Paul, let me ask you this: when you're doing that type of stuff, when you're retrofitting existing vehicles, do you have to carry, or is it more? Do things change by vehicle? I should say, right? Do the different types of vehicles change the kit that has to go on them, or is it just a different configuration of the same sensors, et cetera?
Yeah, we've taken what we call an over-the-top approach. If a vehicle has a steering wheel, a brake, and an accelerator, which just about everyone does, we have this over-the-top solution that allows us to retrofit those vehicle platforms very rapidly. We're talking in under a week's time, very often with the actual retrofit, and then another week or two of tuning. We have equipment that goes into the vehicle and sensors that are mounted and integrated to bring a fully autonomous solution to these kinds of vehicular platforms very rapidly. We're working with Fortune 100 logistics company. We've put this on mining trucks, all kinds of vehicles, over 30 different vehicle types over the past 19 years, really. So it's a proven approach that we've taken and now are applying it heavily to the logistics industry.
Paul, we just finished talking with Alan Adler about the semiconductor shortage, and this is something that's plagued our industry now for coming on close to a year, and it's kind of touching every single part, whether that's electronics that our consumers are buying or the trucks that you can't get delivered. Let's talk about that in the frame of your guys' network. How impactful is this semiconductor shortage to what you guys are doing with the kits and the retrofitting? And if it is impactful, how are you guys working around it and still making it happen even though you may not have the chips?
Sure. Yeah. No. Great question. And in terms of the vehicular platform, of course, again, our kit can work with legacy platforms or new vehicles coming off the line. But with regards to our technology, we have this agnostic or independent approach that applies to the different types of sensors and compute platforms that run in these vehicles. So we've had to pivot and source and select different compute platforms from different vendors, but we have that flexibility. Our software is really the key that enables us to do that and to enable to be more flexible and adaptable to leverage what equipment is available based on current supply chain issues. So, but certainly chip shortages are going to be more pervasive as time goes on. So it's something that we're keeping an eye on.
So, Paul, we always talk about, obviously, this is a very interesting topic, and it is the wave of the future, bringing autonomy to vehicles, at least at some level. And obviously, they'll go full automatic or autonomous, I should say, sometime in the future, not too distant future. But what's your approach to that? Where are the addressable markets, in your opinion, first, second, third, right? Where are you focusing your efforts now? Is it in the long haul, or is it in the, say, the yard space around like LTL distribution centers or consumer distribution, Walmart distribution centers, ports, et cetera? What is the order or the pecking order there of the rollout of autonomous vehicles?
No, absolutely. I mean, we're able to go driverless now with our approach, our technology, but in those more restricted areas of operation like distribution centers, yards, ports, harbors. Those are perfect applications for us to bring full autonomy into the marketplace right now. It can do real work, provide real return on investment, benefits to customers. So that's where we're squarely focused at the current time with our logistics market solutions.
So, Paul, a follow-up to that. When you talk about these things, I've also wondered when you're in a confined space or a moated space like a harbor, right, or like a port, you can predict fairly well what is going to happen there if you're connected to a central control tower or to the other vehicles. Does that change and does what you're producing there? Do you work with that type of stuff so that it's all coordinated, or is it still on the fly, understanding the events as they occur around the vehicle? Did I ask that question clearly enough?
Absolutely, yeah. No, okay. It's a combination of two. There's autonomy on board the vehicle. We have a 360-degree view of everything in it and anything that's going on outside the vehicle. A much better view of the environment than what you or I or any sort of operator of a vehicle could do just sitting in the front seat. So we have that's on board. That provides just unparalleled safety and efficiency of operation of the vehicle. But then at the fleet level, and this is absolutely critical, you have to have the fleet management tools and optimization tools for planning, which vehicle needs to be at which location when, right? So that you can optimize your operations. And so we integrate with we've integrated already with a couple of third-party solutions for that and have partnered in that space and have brought that into our platform so that we're able to integrate with these fleet management tools to take direction, if you will, from these more centrally managed servers that tell our vehicle where to go and when. And we do have some onboard capability to optimize routes and based on cost functions and other things like that we also bring into the picture. So it's a combination of those two that make what you're talking about viable.
Gotcha.
Paul, I talk with a lot of robotics companies that are doing kind of the same thing, putting autonomy into the warehouse space, into the smaller space, things that are more manageable. Like you said, Michael Vincent, about not having to deal with the disruptions or things that are very predictable, right? I really always ask this question: how are you doing when it comes to competition? There's a lot of robotics companies in the space. There's a lot of startups jumping in, getting a lot of money for funding and doing some really cool things. And I want to kind of give you the opportunity to brag. How is Perrone Robotics doing in that competition space? And what is setting you guys over the edge from your competitors?
Sure, yeah, it's maybe a couple things, but a couple key things are you'll hear a lot about artificial intelligence and neural networks and all of these approaches to autonomy require a level of verification and validation that it's going to be safe that is not currently possible. These are probabilistic things, and you don't want to probably know that you're going to make it. You want to know, right? You want determinism. And our approach is to focus on a deterministic, provable, verifiable, validatable approach to driving these vehicles. And therefore, it's certifiable, safety certifiable. So we have a path to certification to certain industrial standards to say that this vehicle can and will do what it's designed and prescribed to do. And that's important for fleet rollout and certainly for safety. We under no circumstance will deploy anything unsafe or unreliable into these environments. And to do that and to gain fleet level deployment capabilities, you have to have this kind of certifiability with your vehicular platforms. And I'm not sure that there are many companies out there addressing that. It's you see a lot of pilots, but you don't see a lot of fleet level scale. And I think that's one of the patterns.
I really like that because, if you are putting a safety driver into an autonomous truck, you don't want to be saying, okay, you know what, there's a 50% chance that it's going to work perfectly good, right? You want to say, I've tried and tested this. I know what it's capable of. I know its limitations, and I'm not going to take it into those limitations because I know firmly that there's no probability of us going here because we're determining that. What are you guys doing moving forward, and where is your next big endeavor? What is the next big step for you guys at Perrone Robotics?
Yeah, well, things have taken off. We've formed more than a couple of OEM engagements, relationships. So now our kit is something that's becoming integrated from the factory, if you will, from certain OEM manufacturers. In the transit space and passenger transit space, we have an OEM relationship with the local motors for autonomous shuttles. We're working, as I mentioned, with this Fortune 100 logistics customer, and they've connected us with OEM manufacturers in the space involving yard trucks. So we're working with them. The key for us is to work with these partners, see our technology integrated into these platforms, such that when they come from the factory, we're able to provide them with more capability based on what our talents are, which is focused around the software, and they can integrate the technology into their vehicle platforms and offer and bring full autonomy at scale to the kinds of customers that we're tackling. So that's been a big focus of our efforts this past year after another round of investment, and we've been successful with meeting our objectives this year, and we're continuing on into the next year. So we're seeing our fleet level deployments increase as we speak.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Paul. Really looking forward to see more things in this space from Perrone Robotics and others as well, as it brings in, the safety, improving safety, improving efficiency, and bringing some relief, I would think, to the capacity situation with the driver shortages, et cetera, that keep moving on and on. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir. You have a great day.